Today we're going to get ready with me for a summer event like a wedding or a get-together, some sort of party that is going to be fun and you want to look fabulous but not overdone. So let's get going because I can't stand to see myself without eyebrows. Let's just start. I have a whole separate video on me doing my eyebrows. So in this video, I'm going to cut forward because it's a process that's very specific and you don't need to see it in every makeup tutorial, but if you want to see me do my eyebrows, it's in this video here. So let's just begin talking about what you need to do before you put your makeup on. This is probably one of the most important steps. You cannot skip this. We're talking about an event where you want to look your very best. So in order to look your very best, the makeup you put on your face has to start on a very moisturized face. So what I did today is I started with washing my face, and then I started with a layer of niacinamide serum, and then I put on a layer of gel moisturizer. If you have dry skin like me, you can handle this much moisture. And then on top of that, I put a very light SPF. Oh, just this simple one from Trader Joe's with SPF 15. It's not even really very protective, but I like the way it feels. It's very moisturizing. So you can imagine I'm almost a little bit sticky with moisturizer right now, but it's all soaked in. So we're ready to get started. And I'm very excited about this because really what I want to talk about is sometimes when we think about getting fancy, we overdo it. We think that fancy equals extra. And it really doesn't. It really just is about choosing the most quality things for your face, having the right color, and doing it with a simple, elegant taste. So this is what I would do if I were going to a summer wedding or other event where I wanted to look my best. Something I didn't really mention is that I love to have a facial spray. This one is Clinique Moisture Surge Face Spray. It's a little sample size. But sometimes I like to do that when I feel like when I'm putting something on, like a lotion or a CC cream, and it's dragging a little bit or it's not spreading like I want it to, I'll give myself a little face spray and then I will tap it out. And I'm going to pull my hair out of my face so I don't accidentally get makeup on. So I'm going to do something glamorous and put on my little leopard turban here because that's fun. You do not need a leopard turban to do this. In fact, I'm not sure how many people have a leopard turban, but I do. I would start with a nice base of moisture, and then on top of that, I would add a nice base of something foundation-like. I don't recommend foundation over 40. It tends to be a bit much. We have some creases here that it ends up in, or it ends up making us look like a dried out biscuit. So I like a CC cream that has extra juice in it. It's not juice. In fact, it says that it is brightening glow serum. So I'm going to use this one from IT Cosmetics. And it's, I've tested out this for my color. So I am using what works for me. You use what works for you. I use nearly a pump of this. Put it on the back of my hand here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to tap it a bit on my hand, and then I'm going to tap it a bit kind of all over my face. Because what I'm trying to do is get it equally spread out. I'm going to have to pull back my turban a bit. I really want to get it in my red spots, which are around my nose, around my eyes where I have little veins. I really kind of want to get an even coating all over the place. I love this stuff because it's actually a little shiny, and over 40, we really could use a little extra juice, a little extra shine. I'm just going to tap it into place around my eyes here. I'm not using this instead of concealer. There will be concealer, but it will be strategically placed. Okay, that's looking pretty good. Now, this is an event, so I would put some on my neck too, but I really didn't want the stuff on my face or my neck to set while I was working on one or the other, so I just did one first. I'm going to use just a little itty bit, like a quarter pump, on my neck. And chest right there. So that's going to help my neck stay moisturized and looking like the same color as my face. And it does have SPF in it. It has 40. That looks much better. And you know, I really can't stand looking at myself without eyebrows, so I'm going to put my eyebrows on, and then we're going to return and continue. If you want to know very quickly, doing my eyebrows involves these items from Benefit, which is Goof Proof Brow Pencil and this Gimme Brow kind of mascara to blend it all in together. And now we're just going to skip forward. Okay, bam, eyebrows on, turban off. And I took the turban off because I already put my CC cream on, and that's what I was really worried about getting in my hair. And I also want to be able to see what I need to cover up. I don't want anything up here missing from my makeup routine, and I know that I got some hair dye on my forehead, and I want to make sure I cover that. So the next step is concealing whatever you need to conceal. Now, you don't need to go hog wild with concealer, especially when you're over 40, because if you do too much around here, you're going to end up looking all cracked and cakey later. If you're at a wedding, reception, it's later in the day, your makeup starts to get a little bit dried out. In that case, you might want to have your face spray with you for a little refresher over your makeup. Yeah, it works. But right now, we are going to conceal in a way that's not going to settle into our lines later. I'm going to use Makeup Forever Ultra HD Concealer. This is kind of a thin concealer. This is not super thick. And mostly because I want this to be a natural look. And I often think that we cover up way too much and too heavy. So let's just go easy and be ourselves. I need it right here. Okay, now I'm going to show you what I do. And I'm not saying everybody do this, but I get some redness around my nose. So I'm going to do this, and I'm going to blend that in. You have to choose where you have redness, okay? And since this is going to be all brightened, I just go ahead and brighten the top of my nose there. And first I'm going to blend this out, and then I'm just going to take another look. I'm just going to tap with my finger. I don't need any fancy blenders, although feel free to use them if you like them. Blend, 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 until it's blended. Okay, so I'm going to bring it up a little bit into my 11 crease there, because this is kind of a brighter color and I want to brighten. So I can already see that maybe it's a little bit too much right here, so I'm taking a dry finger and removing what is under there. And I get a little redness on my chin. I'm going to tap the extra into my chin. Okay, I can see that whatever sleeping I did last night didn't actually do much for me because I see a really dark area under my eye here. So after this settles in and dries up a little bit, I'm going to go back in and put an extra dot right there because that didn't really cover it. And you can do that. You can layer it, but you have to kind of wait for it to settle down, okay? Okay, so what we have here is kind of a neutral, kind of ghosty look, but we're not done being a ghost. I'm going to take some kind of flesh-colored eye primer, eyeshadow, and I'm going to dot this on. It's cream. It's Maybelline Color Tattoo VIP 24 Hour. This actually does a lot for me because it takes care of all those little purple veins in my eyelid. And it is the color of my eyelid, just a little bit darker. Because I don't actually want to highlight my eyelid. My eyelids are kind of chunky. And I like them to recede a bit. So here we go. Covered all my little purple parts there. And it helps my eyeshadow stick much, much better. Whereas if I use concealer too much on my eyelids, that tends to crease. Okay, now we're just looking like we have nice glowy skin, and that's what I want. I'm going to do one more dot of concealer in that dark spot. But I'm not going to worry about my dark spots showing through. I think that we worry too much about perfection. And I think that it's much better to just realize that no one is perfect in real life. We can't live in a filter. So I'm just going to do my best. And then if there's still a little dark spot there, I'm just going to let it be. I'm not going to sit here and cake on concealer so it looks perfectly skin colored. Just going to get on with my life. And here we go, getting on with our lives. The next step is not blush, although it looks like it should be. It looks like we really need some blush right now. But the first thing we're going to do is add some highlighter, because I want to put blush on top of my highlighter. You would think you'd put the highlighter on top of your blush, but I think it gives you a much nicer glow if you put the highlighter under your blush. I'm going to use this weird highlighter called High Beam by Benefit. It looks like nail polish. It's very strange. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to run it along my cheekbones here, just by my eye. And then I'm going to put a little dot right under my eyebrow here and here. And I'm going to tap that in now. Don't tap it in everywhere. You just want to show where your bones naturally bend, like the top of your cheekbone. Okay, and now I'm just going to tap it around here under where my eyebrow is. I used to not like this look, but I think I was just using something that was too shimmery. You want something very subtle. Your highlighter should be subtle, not like disco time, okay? All right, now I'm highlighted and I'm shiny, and I'm going to show you my super secret trick. This is not a secret trick, but it's what I use. It's my secret weapon. And that's a little dot right there. A little dot on the tip of my nose to make me look shiny and alive, and I'm going to blend that in now. Okay, good enough. Okay, we have a nice makeup base. Oh, you know what I forgot? I forgot where I have a little bit of hair dye on my head. So if you have anything like that or a little breakout, you know, go attack that with your concealer. Be light-handed with it. Hopefully that covers my hair dye mishap. What is this? What's happening? Go back. You know, I'm really actually tired of looking at my lip color right here. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to line my lips with this little MAC lip pencil in Spice. And I'm not going to go too heavy. I'm just going to kind of go around the edges where it's a little blurry, where I'm a little bit starting to wrinkle up a little bit. Because even though you can't tell now that I've lined them, my lips are highly, highly uneven on the top here. And that's pretty common. I'm not mad about it. And I'm going to line here where I don't really have a lot. Like my skin color turns into my lip color and you can't even tell where. I was just giving it a little definition. Probably still uneven, but I don't care too much because things are uneven. People are uneven. That's okay. Now we get blush. I really need blush. So I'm going to use, oh, it's Benefit again, this Rockateur blush that I like because it's a little shiny. And, you know, since you're putting blush right here, having that little bit of extra shimmer is always very nice. A little golden shimmer. It's a very nice color. I love this. So I'm just going to put it up here, not too low. I put it along my cheekbone, and I put it on lightly and build it until I'm happy. Good enough. I would like to look as if I've been dancing. So I'm going to put on just enough, probably a little bit more than every day, to look really fresh and alive and thrilled to be there. You know, since I'm going for a natural look, I'm just going to go ahead and this Wonder Stick by NYX, it's in Universal Light for my light skin. I'm going to use the, what's this called? Contouring side? I use it more as a bronzer, and I always use it right here. And that helps bring my forehead down from outer space a bit. And it also makes me look like I've had a little sun. And I haven't. And then I like to put some of this right on my eyelid here. And that helps my eyelids recede a little bit. And now I'm going to tap in this bronzer up here. I tap it into my hairline, so it's not like white and then bronze. And it's really subtle. I like it because it's cream makeup. And I won't be using too many powders today because that tends to make me look all dried out. Over 40 makeup, man. It's a whole different world. Okay. That's looking pretty good. what I'm aiming for here is natural but fancy. So I am going to do a little bit of winged eyeliner. I hope this comes across well. I hope you can see what I'm doing. But I'm only going to be lining from like midway, and then I'm going to be aiming toward the ends of my eyebrows. Let's see how this goes. I'm no makeup pro. So I'm just going to put a little bit there where I want it to start. And I'm going to open my eye, and I'm going to look at where I want it to end. And I kind of like to follow the edge of my eye up toward the end of my eyebrow, and I kind of want it to end there. I'm just going to... That wasn't a nice move. So I'm the kind of person that when I do eye makeup, I need to have a Q-tip handy. So just be aware, this is going to be a little messy at first. Okay, I am going to follow from the edge of my eye out toward my eyebrow end. I'm going to do the same thing over here. Okay, you got to make sure they angle the right way and they match. Okay, now I'm going to connect that middle part to the wing. It's always good to kind of keep your eye halfway open, or at least check in with it as you go, so that you know what you're going to see when you open it up. And if you have hooded eyelids, well, that's a whole different tutorial when we're talking about winged eyeliner. So if your lids tend to hang down a bit more, you're not going to follow exactly what I'm doing, because that's a whole different world, the hooded eyelid. Mine's only slightly hooded. Okay, I hope you can see that that actually makes my eye look very pretty and a little bit more dramatic. I'm going to do the other one now. Okay, and then you want to say, do these somewhat match? And they somewhat do. Like I said, not worrying about perfection. In fact, one of my eyes is shaped very differently from the other. So it's good to sit back and say, now do they look like similar eyes? And if they don't, then, adjust your makeup to match how they look when they're open for real. They're not going to be a perfect match. You're not going to just be able to stamp one eye and stamp the other one with the same thing. All of our faces are slightly asymmetrical, and you really have to take a look at your own face and adjust for your own asymmetricalities. Now we're going to curl these eyelashes. I know for some people, curling their eyelashes is like a nearly daily thing, but I almost never do it. So I'm very interested in seeing how this changes my eye shape. I'm going to use Tarte Lights Camera Lashes Mascara. I like this one, and it's relatively water resistant, lasts all day and doesn't flake into my contact lenses. So that's why I use this one, but you can use your favorite mascara. Oh yes, the curling does help. Why don't I curl every day? Because I just can't add one more thing to my day. But when I go to a wedding or a summer party, I will curl my lashes. Okay, so let me talk about the number one mistake women over 40 make when they're trying to get fancy, is they think that they need to do heavy eye makeup. And you know what? A tasteful smoky eye is a great idea. But just going heavier or darker without thinking about how to do this for older skin is not the way. I tend to look older when I do too much heavy eye makeup, and I'm aware of this. Maybe it's different for you, but I think for most women over 40, just going heavier and darker on the eyes actually ages you. I think that people look younger when they wear less makeup as they get older. So we're going to keep these eyes pretty simple. I'm going to go ahead and do my other eye now. As I'm doing this video, I see that I missed this entire section of my hair and I've got some grays growing in, and you know what? I kind of like it. I think I might actually do that look. I'm not going to fix it. I'm just going to go with it. I like when things are a little unpredictable and not perfect. And having a little bit of gray right here might be an interesting look. I don't know. I guess we're going to find out for the next 5 weeks. Okay, I really do love how this is turning out for my eyes. Very natural, very lifted up. I did not put mascara on the bottom. Now, I might do that if I weren't going to a wedding. But if I'm going to a wedding, I'm probably going to cry. And I need to plan ahead for that, and I'm not going to put it underneath. I like where we are already. I am going to give it a dusting of loose powder. I'm going to use the most general face powder there is, which is Airspun by Coty. You've probably had this face powder in your regime since you were 13. So I'm just going to give myself a really light dusting just to blend everything together. Don't go heavy on the powder. And if you accidentally go heavy on the powder, give yourself a spritz of face spray on top. And I'm going to get under my eyes so that my concealer doesn't go creasing. But really light, guys. If you get too much powder on your brush, just tap it back in the container. I'm going to powder my eyebrows so they stay forever. And since I actually put some CC cream on my neck, I'm just going to do a light dusting of powder there. Light, just to set it. And so it doesn't like transfer to my clothing. All right, I think this is good event makeup, but you know what? Not fancy enough. You know what I want to do? I want to put on my MAC Russian Red lipstick. I think this is really the trick for keeping a nice, neutral, youngish look, but still getting fancy. I could wear this neutral look to my event, but I want to get fancy, so that's what I'm gonna do. This is a bold color. You want to make sure that you've exfoliated your lips before you apply something like this. You also want to have a little bit of moisture on them first so that your lipstick glides nicely. I build this color slowly to make sure I don't go overboard. If you just go, this is going to be too much. I'm just going to transfer what I have to the bottom. That worked. I'm just going to dot a little bit over here. And if you find that to be a little dry, you can always top it with a little lip balm. I really love Burt's Bees tinted lip balm. I am going to do that. I've had a little problem here the whole video. Okay, so I really feel like now we are ready to put on our outfit and do our hair. Okay, I said I was wearing black to this wedding, so that's what I'm wearing. I'm wearing black, and I'm just gonna throw on a necklace. Okay, here I come to your wedding. I'm ready to cry. I'm ready to go. This makeup look should last all night, and it should keep its dewy finish. And I will have to touch up my red lipstick. So bring a bag that's big enough for your lipstick and possibly your face spray in case you get a little dried out later, because that can happen if you're having a glass of wine or two, or the air is dry, whatever. I think I would give my nose a little bit more of a powder, but not so much that my little highlighted dot disappears. Okay, that's it. Fairly simple and straightforward and youthful looking. If you liked this video, I do plan on doing more, and you might enjoy this next one. Thank you for being here.